Morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Andres, and for those of you who do know me, how's it going? I'm the Chief Growth Officer for Hash House, and let's give you guys a little bit of context on what Hash House has been doing for the past 6 years. Hash House was established in 2017 as a hardware supplier, originated in Shenzhen. One of our founder is in Shenzhen, actually, and we've supplied over 500 megawatts worth of PDUs, power supplies, cables, most of the infrastructure needs on the mining facilities across the globe. We're going to talk today about the opportunities that I have vetted myself in South America. One of the big names, and of course, it's Paraguay. And I see some of my friends from Paraguay here, so let's make sure I don't make any mistakes. So this is the 4 countries we're going to go over. And again, this is because I've personally either built farms in those countries or have very close ties with groups and parties who are established and operating in the regions that I'm mentioning here. So we're going to talk about on-grid options in Paraguay and Brazil, and off-grid options in Argentina and Colombia. That doesn't mean that this is strictly, we're not going to limit ourselves into these 4 options. This is, again, the 4 options that I've already done and built myself into. Paraguay, as it has been said in the past, it's currently the most attractive option with a fully regulated energy rate that was built for our industry. We have some really large entities already operational in the country, besides some well-known public trade entities established in the country for almost 2 years now. We all know the name of the company is Bitfarms, and they just expanded their footprint in the country for another 150 megawatts. For Brazil, there's a particular window of opportunity in today's market because in the next 2 slides, we're going to see how the power and the energy price has declined recently to a new low levels that we've not seen in the past 6 to 7 years. Well, let's begin with the mammoth in the country. So Paraguay, the largest hydroelectric dam in the region in terms of installed capacity, and in terms of installed capacity, it's the 3rd one in the whole world. It's actually fallen behind only 2-3 gorges, and some years it has actually beaten 3 gorges in terms of generation or total generation per year. And that's thanks to the way that the river flows and how much water actually flows through the river. Itaipu Dam is jointly managed between Brazil and Paraguay, and they've finished off their agreement and their loans February this year. And we're not sure we're going to see a decrease in the power or energy price share between the 2 countries, but that is apparently in the talks. Paraguay has been receiving miners since 2017, and back then the power prices were really attractive under 4 cents. Still today, we have power prices under 4 cents for 220 kV and 66 kV setups, but anything above or below that at 23 kV, you're going to find yourself at 4.6 cents per kilowatt hour. This, again, is a country that has a public rate for our specific industry. Meanwhile, in Brazil, you can see a steady decline in the trading prices for energy. We have been at the lowest for the past 5 to 6 years. We're talking about buying energy directly from the market at below $30 a megawatt hour. There are a lot of other costs that you have to incur before you actually just pay the energy, but you're going to end up around $31 to $32 a megawatt hour. This window of opportunity exists in today's market because it didn't exist in the past. We tried mining back in Brazil in the years of 2016, 2017. It was not possible because of the energy trading prices right there. So my only suggestion with Brazil and the whole region would be to make sure you're selecting your infrastructure partner for that. For the off-grid options in Argentina, we found several large operations already in on-grid and off-grid. But why do I mention off-grid specifically? Is because we have two well-known energy companies in the country who have successfully started a pilot back in 2021 and 2022, one of them being called YPF and the other one's called Pampa Energía. So their pilots were for a megawatt, and they're on their way to apparently 100 megawatts. We don't know for sure. And Colombia has a very similar situation. Colombia has a lot of gas available in very remote regions such as El Meta, and this is very remote to build a pipeline. So making these locations a perfect example for Bitcoin mining. Several groups in the country started a pilot back in 2022, and they have successfully operated for over a year now. There are some really large overhead costs in operating a farm in El Meta because transportation and logistics are not common for our industry, but it can be done, as I've been there myself, and I know two companies who are already operating 1 megawatt and 3 megawatt location, buying power under 3 cents all in. Besides the gas options, there are privately owned small hydro dams in Colombia that could be acquired for low cost, but you have other costs to consider too, which comes into the administration of and the operation of such hydroelectrical dams. So regulatory-wise, banking-wise, I won't lie to you, Paraguay is not super open to our business. So we have some struggles when it comes to banking in Paraguay, specifically if they know we're in the crypto industry. There is, however, one group that is related to a fintech group, and I think they're here in the conference. They have an operational sandbox for exchanging crypto into fiat directly in Paraguay. And with that said, it is possible to open up a bank account with a crypto-related company. The question usually remains is for how long we will keep that bank account open. And we have to be very careful when receiving international wire transfers, as Paraguay only has 2 intermediary banks for this. So that's why banks are a little bit cautious on that end. Meanwhile, in Brazil, there's specifically, it's a lot easier to work with banks. There are a lot more available options. On top of that, you have fully licensed exchanges that operate currently in the country, making it easier to exchange the coins, into fiat to pay your bills and to take care of, your daily needs. As of today, I don't know if there is any plans to do or to add any energy taxes or a tax specifically on energy for crypto mining activities. So far, it has not been announced at all. So today in Brazil, we're considered part of the regular data center industry. So there's no added pricing on top or added taxes if we use the energy for crypto mining. Argentina, as of last year, there was a public announcement made by the tax authorities that they were going to tax crypto mining specifically in Buenos Aires. And this has been approved. It's a 4% tax on all the crypto mining activities specifically in the city of Buenos Aires. But besides this, there are fully licensed exchanges also available in Argentina, making it easier to exchange your coins into regular fiat to, pay your obligations in the country. And I know some people is going to look at me like, we have a cheaper price than this, we have a higher price than this. I know. This is only an average price, trying to give you guys a ballpark of where you're going to be landing at if you try to do business in some of these countries. Why do I think South America? And I'm using Paraguay as an example because it is the country that has the most friendly environment to work with for our industry. So based on that, you see a small comparison of numbers here on the screen based on previous experience. I've not only built farms in South America, I've been in the crypto space for almost 10 years now, and I've built farms in the US, Sweden, Norway, and across the globe. This, just to give you a specific, this CapEx numbers are based on pre-manufactured or prefabricated buildings, and it is based also including the last step of the transformation. So in Paraguay, in that number, we include transformation from 23 kV And in the US, we include transformation from 34 or 13.8 kV. So in my opinion, there are still a few hurdles to overcome, especially in South America when it comes to importing miners. In Paraguay, we don't have a rule that's one-to-one with the valuation we provide to the authorities. So that's still, let's call it a discussion to be had with them, but it can be done, and it's currently being done by many companies, and you have a lot of access to English-speaking lawyers, importers, and a lot of very well-known parties in the country to work with. One of the big hurdles, and I think that we want to tackle specifically in our country's infrastructure side. Usually when you get a quote from a manufacturer or a builder or a contractor in the country, they'll tell you a timeline. Not even in the States, usually that timeline is stick to. So the product we're presenting here today in this conference at the Hash House booth, which is booth number 75, it's a ready-to-deploy immersion cooling data center solution that was co-developed with MicroBT. It serves all the M56 series, so you can fit either 96 or 128 units of the M56 series S pluses and S plus pluses. And I want to finish with a video, but before the video, I want to show you guys something. When we talk about South America, we usually get the notion that it should be cheaper, that the infrastructure is not up to the standards that we find in the US or Canada. This is, and I ask for permission to show this, this is Bitfarm's facility in Villarrica, Paraguay. And if I would be here to show you that, and I wouldn't tell you that this facility is in South America, would most of you guys think this is in South America? Or would you guys agree that this is to the standards that we built in the US? But at least I see some people nodding, so I'm going to say yes. And this is a short video to introduce our immersion cooling data center solution built by Hash House in cooperation with MicroBT. Thank you all for listening, and we'll be waiting for you at booth number 75.